Alright, and hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of whatever this is. We're watching Housing Complex C today. It's going to be a good time. I'm going to explain to you a little bit about what's going on in the Cthulhu Mythos as we watch. You guys seemed to really like that last time. But also, did you know that a lot of you are not subscribed, even though you watch all of our content already? So if you're one of those people who's already watched our content, I need you to fucking subscribe. I need you to do that. You know what? No, Cthulhu needs you to do that. Nyarlathotep needs you to do that. Hastur needs you to do that. But anyway, I'm going to be explaining to you all the intricacies of what's happening in the Cthulhu Mythos because I'm a Keeper of Arcane Lore. That means I run Call of Cthulhu, which is a horror tabletop game, hence the grid, that is based in the world of the Cthulhu Mythos. So I know a lot about what's going on, but you in the audience might also know more than me, so feel free to let me know in the comments if I got something horribly wrong. Anyway, I'm completely existing off of caffeine and spite. I have been on a film set for the last couple days, and I am ready to watch some Housing Complex C. Enjoy! You know, I didn't mention this last time, however, part of me is curious. This would be a very sort of silly direction for them to go in, but with the black cat and the Egypt tie, Bast is also an option. Now, Bast is the cat god from ancient Egypt, but is also heavily featured throughout H.P. Lovecraft's writing, specifically in a lot of his Dreamlands works. There is a great short story about the cats of Uthar, I believe that's the name of the short story, in which bad things happen to you if you hurt a cat, which I don't like a lot of H.P. Lovecraft for how he is as a person, but I do appreciate his love for cats, despite what he named his. I kind of wonder if we're going to see the intricacies of how Deep Ones could actually be kind of more people-like. We immediately start with the themes of xenophobia. All good, all good. Yep, it is racist. Oh, what did we find? Oh. Yep, so if I remember correctly, that is supposed to be... So I'm guessing that's the body of the man from episode 1.
It may just be the only logical explanation.
I don't think moss works like that, my guys. The moss is very reminiscent of the black goat, though, so I'm very curious about a Shub-Niggurath tie-in, although I highly doubt that that would be the case. Hey, so not everything's dead yet. That's good. Just some fish. Whoa, don't... Nope.
Are they really? Yes, they are.
Do you know something more, Mom?
How's Kimmy? She's really
So was the corpse not Hideo? So is that confirmed? That the corpse is not Hideo? I am fairly confused. And not in the good horror way. More in the need to know what the fuck's going on kind of way. Oh. Hey!
You want shaved ice?
What? Okay, so this dagger is not painting a good picture for Yuri and her mom and everything that's going on. So, Cthulhu Dagger, that's a Cthulhu Dagger. Now, Idols of Cthulhu, there's no hard lore for how this could go. Usually, the way that Cthulhu communicates is through dream and then causes those who dream him to produce acts of art that then inspire fear and madness that are interpretations of his will that we just cannot quite fathom. So when we put them on art, we're like, ah, it's spooky. But ultimately speaking here, it's a little sus, especially everything else that's going on in this episode. I do love that the dad still has a professor and anthropology vibe. That does very much tie in with the overall sort of character dynamics that you would see in a traditional Lovecraftian story. Someone that is interested in the human nature, but is looking and is going to be challenged by whatever pops up here. Again, I'm curious as to the direction they're going with the potential Deep One hybrids, though, because they don't look very Deep One hybrid-y. Normally, they all look kind of bubbly faced.
Everything but maiden marries a frog full of sun.
Okay, so this island has a history with deep ones. So the location itself will hold some power. It's not just the people from outside. That's very good to know.
Wait a sec. Kimmy's verse of the Sacred King.
Cthulhu. I'm guessing that that is the phoneticized version of Cthulhu, who normally shows up in other pieces as being named just Cthulhu. Very good to know.
Until the heavens reunite with Earth.
Until the heavens.
Reunite with Earth.
According to Yoshkin,
Oh no! That sounds like a Cthulhu waking up. Very fun. We are full-blown exploring the Call of Cthulhu. Well, not the Call of Cthulhu, but at least the interpretation behind the Call of Cthulhu. Although I would be very curious to see if there is an actual Call of Cthulhu throughout this. Hey everyone, Ben from Post here. So, real quick thing on this. The Call of Cthulhu is what I described earlier, where Cthulhu reaches out to you in his dreams. However, Cthulhu's awakening is kind of the grand goal of the Call of Cthulhu. Something that his followers do through their own madness that will eventually lead to his rise and his rebirth as essentially sort of the supreme ruler of the earth. When this happens, everyone will supposedly go insane, the new era will begin, his followers and everyone will just kind of go into a mad rage of just killing each other, and life as we know it will begin an apocalypse, but more of just an apocalypse of everyone losing their minds and violently destroying each other and our way of life being completely erased, rather than just everyone outright dying. Also, probably more monsters will show up. Okay, gate. Gates can mean a lot of things. That may end up being a red herring. I do like how we're leaning into the mystery of this, though.
I'll need to find some texts from the South Pacific. I'll go to the library.
What made you think that? What did he say?
These have expired. Throw them out.
I like the big dude.
Would be rude. Is there something the matter?
Okay, we're showing humanity of the people that they're likely to cast as the villains. I like it. I do want to say, however, the playing that they are doing with the foreigners is actually pretty damn good here. Specifically the way that we're now getting points of view for the foreigners. So the show initially wanted us to believe in episode 1 that they will ultimately be the bad guys, and then they started embracing some of the xenophobic sort of tropes that exist within Lovecraft, as well as having a character outwardly say these xenophobic things. Now, this episode, we very clearly see that we're calling people out for being racist now, which is great. And also, our main point of view character for the foreigners is Khan. And this guy, he is probably the only member of that group that is actually drawn like a Deep One hybrid. So I'm gonna put an image up somewhere of what a Deep One hybrid looks like, and you can compare him to Khan. He's not completely down that camp. His eyes are not bulging. However, he does keep that same sort of odd gait within his walk and those hunched shoulders that you would expect to see within a Deep One hybrid. So Khan recognizes the symbol, and clearly we can now see that he and the others are kind of figuring out what's going on here. There's potential mythos tie-ins, and they seem to be somewhat keen on it. However, they seem to be keen on it in the way that you would want to avoid it. So I'm now coming to the belief that these characters do not want to be involved in the mythos. However, Khan is likely still a Deep One hybrid, and that is likely no fault of his own. If he's born a Deep One hybrid, he will be a Deep One hybrid. And that just means that as he gets older and more closer to the sea and has more proximity to Cthulhu, he will begin to ascend and eventually become full-blown fish monster. Which, you know, they're Deep Ones have their own cultures, their own things, so maybe it won't be a racist interpretation of a Deep One, or perhaps it will be more of a established idea of his descent into madness is his descent into physically changing into an abomination. Pretty terrifying.
Move them. The dead animals outside Kimmy's apartment.
What?
Inside Kimmy's apartment?
Oh, he's a good dude.
Have some faith. This kind of thing is
Someone's dying this episode. That's a not fucking good. Oh boy. Someone's dumping. It's gotta be the other girl. The mom has the Cthulhu dagger. They showed them a bunch of Cthulhu stuff. Either that or they unsealed something when they moved that elder sign. Both are possible. Yeah, okay, yep, someone died.
Cleared up. We'll catch up later, okay,
He's dead.
Mommy?
You're gonna find a dead body. I don't think Khan is doing all the bad things here. However, the only other person that knew information and has taken interest in Kimmy is Yuri. And the way that it opens up this episode with the fact that we don't see Yuri's eyes, and she's talking to her mom, and her mom is asking what has happened. And we also know about the Cthulhu dagger that they have not shown anyone. I'm starting to think that the people who are causing the problems are actually the mom and Yuri. Because, to be frank, they're the only other two people that have taken an interest in what's going on. Sure, they may have moved in at the same time as the foreigners. Perhaps this is a convergence of two separate groups that have had some interactions with the mythos upon one very unfortunate housing complex that happens to be at the base of this mountain, which probably has a temple to Cthulhu. Yeah, it's not looking good for the residents of Housing Complex C. But she's definitely one of the... Either Mom or Yuri is leaving those dead animals there. The show really does like to put an emphasis on the red.
If somebody was out there dumping fish last night, Yushkin would have told us about it this morning.
Whoa. Whoa. What kills people and turns it into moss? Yeah, it's gotta be the other girl. One of the girls had to have done it. So only the girls had access to it. They were turned into moss. What? What? Okay, so now I'm understanding what's going on with the corpse. So the corpse, I'm guessing, was the moss. And the friends were turned into moss. So, as far as entities that could potentially do this, I quickly mentioned Shub-Niggurath. The only reason why I could see this tie-in potentially existing is the fact that you normally would associate Shub-Niggurath, or we'll just call her the Black Goat of the Wood, with things like plant life and life in general. She is the closest thing to a fertility god. She's probably the only entity that even kind of has a domain next to Nyarlathotep, who again is more than likely a god of madness. Now, the more likely scenario here is that the dagger probably turns you into moss. Now, there's nothing like established in lore that would say this, that, yes, Cthulhu and moss, they're the same thing. But again, it's really important to note that the Cthulhu mythos is never set in stone. Anyone can take their own creative premise to it upon these characters and these ideas and be able to work with it. And honestly, I kind of love how ethereal it is, how horrifying it is that you go looking for your friend and all that you see is moss in a vague shape of where they would be. That's pretty dang creepy. And very, very upsetting. Okay, so let's talk about what we see in the soup here. I have it paused. There's two things that come to mind. The first of which is, unfortunately, I think it's the head of a dog. Not great. Wondering how that managed to happen. So, couple questions about what's going on here. Again, if it is the Mom and Yuri kind of dream teaming it with fucking horribleness, I do think that they may have killed a dog and put it in there, and that's totally, I guess that's reasonable. But on the other hand, this might actually be our first look at a Shoggoth. I don't know, it's difficult to tell, it's all in red. It looks like it's either a furry thing with a nose and an eye, or it is a congealed mass of blobbiness that then has an eye rolling back in it. It's difficult to tell. We're gonna have to wait till next episode. But if it is a little proto-Shoggoth, which would just be a tiny sort of man-made Shoggoth, it would be pretty interesting to see it potentially as a weird, gross thing that potentially just apparated in the soup or is put in the soup. that they throw away and then goes ahead and takes on a life of its own. Doubt it's the second thing, but until we see it next episode, I mean, it's probably a dog. This is... I don't like looking at it. I still have it up on my screen right now. Just get it away. Go, be gone. But anyway, that is today's reaction / breakdown of Housing Complex C. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked it, well, I have a whole fucking... Do that. Like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.